Most people think sleep is just for rest, but what if it's actually the most powerful moment of your entire day? You spend all day looking for answers out there, in podcasts, books, advice from others. But the truth? The voice you're really looking for, the one with your real answers, is already inside you. You've just been too busy to hear it. Now here's the twist: your soul doesn't shout during the noise of the day. It whispers at night. And if you don't slow down before sleep, you'll miss those whispers, again. I know it sounds a little mystical, talking to your soul like it's a friend waiting for your call. But once you try it, even just once, you'll notice something shift. Subtle, yes. But unmistakable. Because when you create just one quiet moment before closing your eyes, you unlock a part of you that's been patiently waiting. And the guidance, peace, and clarity that follow? Well, let's just say it's not the kind of thing you'll want to keep ignoring. When the world finally quiets down and everyone's asleep, something shifts. The chaos of the day gives way to stillness, and that's when your soul leans in, waiting. It's not a coincidence that ancient cultures held twilight and the night sacred. They knew something we've forgotten. In that silence, intuition sharpens like a blade, and the space between this world and the next feels thinner. Your thoughts slow, and in that rare calm, you finally hear the whispers you've been missing. Imagine lying in bed, eyes closed, and suddenly, you feel a nudge, not physical, but inner. Maybe it's a gut feeling, a random memory, or even an emotion rising out of nowhere. That's not just your mind wandering. That's your soul knocking. Most people ignore it, thinking it's just noise, but if you pause and lean into it, you'll find something incredible: spiritual messages meant just for you. There's a reason monks, mystics, and sages often meditate before dawn or at night. The veil is thin, yes, but also, the distractions are gone. The body doesn't demand much. The phone isn't buzzing. You're not chasing emails or stuck in traffic. And with all that stripped away, your soul finally gets a turn to speak. And let's be honest, it has a lot to say. If you've ever had a dream that felt too real, or a sudden insight just before drifting off, that's the soul's language. The key is learning to catch it. Night meditation is more than relaxing music and deep breaths. It's a doorway to something ancient and deeply personal. But knowing this isn't enough. You've got to enter that space consciously, and the way to start. That's exactly what we'll explore next. It all starts with presence, and no, you don't need an incense stick or a Himalayan cave. Just your bed, a few minutes, and the intention to connect. Begin by placing your hand over your heart. Feel it. That's your center. Breathe slowly, in and out, like you're softening the edges of the day. This simple gesture tells your soul, I'm listening now. Now, don't overcomplicate it. You're not summoning spirits or waiting for thunder. Just ask. Something like, what do I need to know tonight, or where am I not being honest with myself? The questions should be open, gentle, like you're talking to a friend, not an interrogator. And once you ask, don't rush the answer. Let it land in its own time. A journal on your nightstand is a game changer here. Keep it close, not to force yourself to write, but to catch those passing flashes, a sentence, a symbol, a word that keeps echoing in your chest. These aren't random. They're soul fragments coming up for air. Some nights, the page stays blank. Other nights, it feels like you're writing down a letter sent from beyond. Over time, this becomes a rhythm, a sacred habit. Like brushing your teeth, but for your spirit. Your soul begins to trust the space you've created. And it starts meeting you there, more and more. You'll feel it. In your dreams. In your clarity. In how the next day just flows better. And speaking of flowing, what if your soul isn't speaking in words at all? What if it has its own language? The soul doesn't always speak in neat sentences. In fact, most of the time, it won't say a word. Instead, it deals in sensations, that warmth in your chest, the shiver down your spine, the image that flashes in your mind just before sleep. These aren't random. They're messages. Think of them like postcards from the divine, written in a language you're just now learning to read. You might hear a phrase out of nowhere, or see a vivid image behind your closed eyes, a forest, a face, a light. These are clues, not hallucinations. The more you honor them, the clearer they get. One woman I coached said she kept seeing a staircase in her mind before bed. Weeks later, she realized it mirrored the steps she was taking out of an emotional rut. That's how the soul works. Symbolic. Subtle. Spot on. Dreams are another sacred tool in this language. Ever wake up from one that lingered all day? That's no accident. Spiritual messages hide in metaphors, a broken mirror, a lost child, an overflowing river. It's not about decoding everything like a puzzle. It's about noticing. Feeling. Asking, what is this trying to show me? Intuition isn't loud. It's more like a soft knocking you only hear when everything else is still. Tuning into this language is like adjusting an old radio dial. At first, it's fuzzy. Then one night, it clicks. And suddenly, everything feels like a sign. Not in a paranoid way, in a deeply connected way. You realize your soul has been speaking this whole time. You just hadn't learned how to listen. But now you're listening. And now that you're tuned in, how do you keep that connection alive night after night? You don't need a guru or a mountaintop to awaken your intuition, just a few intentional rituals before bed. Try a guided visualization that focuses on your heart or third eye. Picture a soft light expanding from your chest or glowing between your eyebrows. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Even a simple image of breathing in clarity and exhaling tension can unlock layers of inner wisdom you didn't know were there. Mantras work wonders too, especially when repeated gently in the rhythm of your breath. A favorite of mine is, I am ready to receive. Whisper it like you mean it. No theatrics. Just sincerity. Say it 5 times as you lie down. It becomes a soft programming for your subconscious, opening a space where your soul feels safe to enter. It's like leaving the door unlocked for your deepest self to walk through. Sound is another underrated portal. Soft ambient tones, solfeggio frequencies, or even gentle nature sounds can help relax the body and soften the analytical mind. Think of it as creating a sonic cocoon, one where logic takes the back seat and intuition finally gets the mic. You're not just relaxing, you're preparing the ground for a spiritual message to take root. Stillness has power, but so does rhythm. Silent reflection, paired with deep, steady breath work, becomes a bridge. Inhale slowly to a count of 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4. Do this for a few minutes. You'll feel your mind settle, your body surrender. This is the space where your soul shows up, quietly, confidently. And once it starts showing up, you might be surprised by what begins to unfold. At first, it might feel subtle, like you're not sure anything's really happening. But then, something shifts. One night you wake up and realize a problem that felt massive now seems clear. That's your soul at work. It doesn't shout or demand. It nudges, it reveals. And when you begin listening every night, those nudges become full-blown revelations. Emotional healing doesn't come in a lightning strike, it comes in waves. Gentle ones. Night after night, this connection with your soul begins to soothe parts of you that you didn't know were aching. Maybe it's an old hurt that softens. Or a habit that suddenly doesn't make sense anymore. That's the soul's quiet medicine. It's not therapy. It's deeper. It's truth, your own truth, finally being heard. The more you show up to listen, the sharper your intuition gets. You start catching insights mid-conversation. Or you wake up knowing exactly what decision to make. One woman I worked with began hearing a phrase every night, let go. A few weeks later, she ended a toxic relationship with peace instead of chaos. That's the magic of soul connection, it doesn't just give answers, it gives clarity. Dreams become vivid, almost cinematic. You start spotting synchronicities during the day, like your inner world is syncing with the outer one. You feel accompanied. Guided. Like there's a presence walking beside you that's always known where you're going. And once you feel that, well, you stop doubting. You start trusting. And with that trust comes something even deeper, something that starts changing everything. When your soul starts speaking and you actually listen, something beautiful happens, life begins to align. Not perfectly, not without challenges, but honestly. Decisions don't feel like guesses anymore. They feel like yes or not yets. You stop forcing things to work and start letting them unfold. That pressure in your chest. It eases. Because now, you're living with direction, not just momentum. Relationships start to shift, too. Some deepen with new understanding. Others quietly drift away, and strangely, it feels right. You begin speaking your truth more freely, not out of rebellion, but out of alignment. It's like your soul becomes the filter. If it doesn't resonate deeply, it doesn't stay. And that kind of clarity, that's freedom most people don't even know they're missing. There's a sense of remembering, not of facts, but of yourself. Like you've been walking in circles and suddenly recognize the path. Nighttime becomes more than rest, it becomes a return. A quiet reunion with your purpose. That restlessness that once kept you up. It's replaced by something softer, more grounded. Because now, night brings answers instead of anxiety. And the best part? It doesn't take hours. One quiet moment before sleep can shift everything. That's the beauty of soul connection. It's not loud or complicated, but it's real. And once you taste that level of alignment, of presence, you'll never want to go back. But let's rewind a bit. How do you even get started with this? Why does something so powerful begin in such a subtle way? So now that you know how to talk to your soul before sleep, the real question is, will you actually do it? Will you give yourself that 5 minutes of stillness instead of scrolling through your phone? Will you ask a question and wait for an answer, even if it comes in the form of a dream or a strange but meaningful thought? Because here's what most people miss, your soul is always speaking. But if you never pause to listen, you'll keep waking up with that same dull ache, like something's missing and you can't name it. So try it tonight. Just once. Place your hand over your heart, breathe, and ask. Then notice what shifts, in your emotions, in your decisions, in the way you feel about your own life. And if this resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. This is just the beginning. There's so much more your soul wants you to remember, and I'm here to walk that path with you.